Hey guys, hi. How's your quarantine going? Hope you're staying safe and washing your hands and singing happy birthday to yourself a lot. Um, so, one of the things that we were going to do today, if we were together, is I was going to read you this article. It's called 13 Simple Techniques for Effective Interviews. The thing about interviews is they're hard to conduct, especially if you're in person, because you have to be in three places at once. You have to be in the present, listening to what the person is saying. You have to be in the past, um, writing down what they just said, and then you sort of have to be in the future too, since you're in charge of the interview, and you got to kind of be thinking about where you're going to go after you are done with where you're at. So it's really hard. It's sort of a place of heightened awareness is what I think. Um, so I'm going to read you this article just like I would if we were in class. Normally I would have you take notes over this and then give you a quiz over it afterwards and let you use your notes as if you had like attended a lecture or something. You should always, of course, I might talk fast because I only have 10 minutes. On my webcam cuts me off. I'm already dead. Anyway, I keep going. So and then I wouldn't let you ask me questions as if you had only gone home with your notes. But in the real world, of course, you should ask people to clarify if you're interviewing them. You need to do an interview for this problem solution paper. So here is 13 Simple Techniques for Effective Interviews by Sarah Stoutville, who was a journalist for the New York Times. Number 1, find a good location. Avoid Starbucks. It's often easiest to suggest a centrally located corporate coffee shop, but if there is any way you can interview in a place that has some relevance to your story or your subject, you'll have much greater success. Not only because you'll gain a further sense of context, but because people are often more comfortable and open when they're in a familiar place or what feels like their territory. So ask to meet at your subject's house, work, or even better, a location of an incident relevant to the story. Number 2, prepare your goals ahead of time. Know what questions you're going to ask and why you're going to ask them. Heading to an interview with a sense of what you want out of it is critical to conducting a successful interview. You should already be thinking about what you need from this source in order to get your writing closer to that end result. I might paraphrase some of these because I think it's going to take me longer than the 7 minutes that I have left. So here's number 3. Write down your questions. This is still straight from the journalist. Be sure to bring prepared questions. I usually go into an interview with twice as many questions as I expect to ask. The security of knowing I'm not going to get stuck helps my confidence. Number 4, work on your flow. You don't really have to worry about this because this part is really for like video and audio interviews. So, yeah, but then also part of this is just making sure you're conversational so you don't just jump to the next question on your list just because it is the next question on your list. So be thinking about transitions from one thing to the next. So if you were thinking about that, then what do you think about this? Number 5 is the one you really don't need, which is thinking about the medium. If you are interviewing for television or audio, like a blog, no, like what am I thinking? Podcast, something like that. If you were interviewing for something like that, you want to make sure that you don't interject too much so that it's voices over top of each other. So you can't really go, yeah, I hear you. You can't really do that stuff if it's for those types of mediums, and that's really what 5 is about, and you should be aware of that, but you will talk about that in a broadcasting class if that's what you're doing. Okay, number 6, bring a buddy. I find having a second person as a note taker, an extra set of ears, can be very useful. If you don't think another person will overwhelm or distract your subject, it can be a lifesaver to have that second set of notes to check your quotes and information. Number 7, avoid obsessing. While good notes and recording are very important, You can do yourself a disservice by obsessing about recording every little detail of what your subject says. As you're interviewing, you should be able to discern the gems from the chatter. Focus on the quotes and info you know you're going to use, and make sure you get those right. Number 8, be a little annoying. Don't be afraid to relentlessly revisit a topic or question you feel hasn't been properly addressed. Sometimes people need to warm up to you or to a topic, or will respond better if your question is worded differently, so just keep trying. Be a little sneaky. Continue taking notes even after the interview is officially over. Some people start saying the most revealing things when the interview is actually over and they feel like the pressure is off, but then they start really talking. The other way you can be a little sneaky, this one's not an article, I'm just going to throw it in there, is like reading the background. Like, say you interview somebody in their office, well, look at around, what's on their shelves, what's on their desk, what types of things seem to be important, and is anything related to the topic you're interviewing them about, any objects from that topic laying around in their office or whatever place they choose to meet you at, sticking out of their purse or whatever. Number 10, empower them. A great question to ask if you don't fully understand their perspective is, what is your ideal solution? This is only works in certain circumstances, but when it's appropriate, it can help clarify their point of view. Number 11, work them up. Another great question to ask is, why do you care about this issue? Because they can get emotional. If you ask them why they care about something, they may tell you why they care about it, and that may be a good way to get kind of to the heart of the thing that you're talking to them about. Number 12, this one's important. Endure awkward silence. I know this is totally counterintuitive. My instinct is to keep chatting and asking questions to help everybody feel so comfortable, but sometimes, especially if you're dealing with a sensitive subject, you actually need to shut your mouth and wait. Ask your question, let them give you their rehearsed and generic answer, then sit there quietly and see what comes next. You'd be amazed how often this technique yields powerful results. It's true. It is true. People will fill in that awkward silence. Let them fill it in, because they'll give you good information. 2 minutes left. Number 13, ask for what you need. Sometimes interviewees are frustrating because not because they're trying to be, but because they don't understand what you want. So if you say, well, listen, here's what I actually need. I need to know, I need a quote that encapsulates your feelings on this issue, or I need you to walk me through the timeline of how these things went down, or can you please take me to a location where something occurred that is relevant to this issue, and then I can set a scene and have a deeper understanding. For the most part, people you are interviewing are willing and happy to be helpful, and you just need to tell them how you can be. Here are the questions I would have asked you on a quiz. Number 1, what's the best location for an interview? Number 2, what should you do about awkward silence? Number 3, true or false? It is important to record everything your source says word for word. Number 4, why is it sometimes a good idea to get your source worked up? And number 5, why might you want to bring a buddy with you to an interview? You'll probably be conducting your interviews over email, I'm guessing, since we're all quarantined and social distancing and all that stuff. So that's acceptable, though. It's a good way to do it. Then you can get their quotes word for word, letter perfect, exactly as they wanted to say them. And sometimes people you're interviewing will feel more comfortable if you do it that way anyway, because then they can go over what it is they're saying. I interviewed someone for a very technical article for American Fitness one time, and it was about running steps and what muscles it helps, and anyway, it was very, very, very specific, and I was happy to have those quotes over email also, so I could just copy and paste them. Hey, you guys, I totally miss you. I'm down to 10 seconds, so check your email. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.